I want to hear from the North Carolina retired state trooper, if we can. 978-560-3155. He says he's calling. Or they. I should say they. Could be a female.
I'm excited to hear this because I want to know more.
I think this is it. This says North Carolina. Let's see who it is. I love when law enforcement calls.
Hello?
Hi, you live on the show.
Hey, this is a retired trooper. A few folks want me to call in. How you doing?
Good. What should you say your name again?
Retired trooper, North Carolina.
Okay. Did you say your name, or we're just gonna call you a nickname?
Just call me whatever you want to call me. I've been called everything in my career, so it don't really matter.
Should I call you Roscoe?
There are a lot of things in this case. That's fine. There are a lot of things in this case. This ship has already sank to the bottom. I mean, why didn't they knock on the door? Why didn't they get a search warrant to go in? Why didn't they go there and take pictures of her vehicle before they towed it? Why do they still have her vehicle? I investigated over 14,000 motor vehicle crashes, probably 250 fatalities.
Wow.
They did it. This is the absolute worst investigation I've ever seen in my life. A picture is worth 1,000 words. What they should have done initially is secure the entire crime scene, knocked on the door, got everybody out of there, searched the entire house, number one. What I would have done is I would have, if the fire truck was there, go up on the ladder, take a picture down below. Juries and people love visual. They love seeing things. And I saw very, very little pictures. Now, where is the collision report? By law, if you have a fatal, if it's over $1,000 worth of damage, you're required by law to do a report. Now, she's charged with second-degree murder while being impaired. Good luck proving she's impaired. I think somebody said they may have drew blood, 9 hours after the crash? I had that one time. I actually drew it 3 hours after the crash. And we had an expert come testify that he would have been at a 0.10 and actually lost it. So they can't show impairment, that she was impaired.
That many hours after? Mm-hmm. Why did you wait 3 hours on that one? On that one that you just mentioned?
Well, what happened was I had a guy, he ran off the road, and I checked on at 6 o'clock, and it was about 45 minutes from where I lived. So when I got there, he was already taken to the hospital. So I got there around 7. I completed the report, and it took me about an hour to get to the hospital. I had to find him and all that. So I wound up drawing blood about 9 o'clock. And if I can remember correctly, I believe he blew like a 0.0607 on the alpha sensor, and obviously you can't use that in court. So we got the expert from the state to come in and say that he would have been at a 0.10 at 5:15 in the morning, and we lost it. So they are very, 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 very difficult to win. I've not heard anybody testify. Was she supposedly parked in front of the house in the driveway, supposedly backed into them? And listen, there is no way. I have seen and I've investigated many hit and runs, and I have never seen those type of injuries on somebody's arms. There is no way in the world those injuries, they are not consistent with a motor vehicle crash. I'm telling you, there is no way, zero.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I would have taken, the state gives us a real nice $500 digital camera. I would have taken enough pictures that the batteries would have ran down. And I don't understand why they still have her vehicle. What I would have done was, I would have completed a report. We would have called a local tow truck company. They would have stored it. I would have put a hold on it. The next day, the reconstruction unit would have went. It would have probably taken them maybe 2 days. And then I would have called her and said, ma'am, you can come get your vehicle. We're done.
Wow.
But I think it's a setup. Yeah. I think it's a complete setup. The injuries are just not consistent. Now, I have had plenty of pedestrian crashes, and every single one of them, they had bruises. They got bruises somewhere. He had no bruises, 0.
Yeah.
And I would have taken picture after picture after picture after picture. Juries love to see pictures. I testified probably 150 times before a jury and probably 100 times before a judge. Now, all of mine were DWI. I have charged a misdemeanor death. I don't know why they've charged her with murder, because obviously it's not first-degree murder. But there's no way that his arm cracked that tail light the way that they have it shown. There is no way. Also, I would have interviewed everybody. I would have separated them. We got cameras in our patrol cars. I would have videotaped everything everybody said, so when you go to court, bam, play it. So there wouldn't be any questions of what anybody said or didn't say.
Why do you think they didn't do that?
I don't know why.
Why do you think they didn't do all that? I think you said it earlier, but I want to hear it.
Because a crash never happened. Because a crash never happened. Why didn't they do a crash? Listen, where are the supervisors at in this case? I can't see me going to my supervisor. Well, number one, I wouldn't have done a report, but just say I didn't do a report. The first thing an attorney is going to ask you on the stand, the very first thing they're going to ask you after you tell them who you are, your education, your training, you have a copy of the collision report. Yes, sir. Well, let's go over it. So if they're going to say that he died as a result of a motor vehicle crash, you better have a crash report.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And right? I don't understand, so there's just so much wrong with this case. And look, cop, politician, or whatever, I had a job to do. And I did the same with everybody. It didn't matter to me because, look, at the end of the day, I was the one that had to sit on the stand and testify before the judge and the jury, and I'm not going to lie. Now, did I make mistakes in my career and put the time down wrong on the affidavit and lost the DWI and I could have lied? Yes. I told him, yeah, I made a mistake. I lost the case. Move on. But his arm, there is no way. I mean, I can just look at his arm and you can ask me, he was backed into. Do you think that those scrape marks on his arm came from a tail light? There is no way. There's no way. That ends the case to me. So, look, They should have took more pictures. They should have interviewed more people. And you've got to get everything down right before you go charge somebody. Because, listen, attorneys aren't cheap. And, in this case, it's what, $5 million. I don't know many people that has $5 million. Yeah. So if I'm going to charge somebody, I'm going to make sure that person did it. And, all this inverting of the video, look, man, I don't understand why they did all that stuff. It's just a cover up.
Definitely.
Yes.
What do you think about when you hear emails, like there was an email or text sent out by one of the witnesses to another witness, actually a group text from a bunch of witnesses talking to each other, and they said the guy didn't come into the house. What do you think about that statement?
He didn't come in.
The guy, not their friend,
right.
The guy.
Who are you talking about? Mr. O'Keefe, who died, didn't come in the house.
So Matt McCabe basically writing that to the homeowner, the Boston police officer, basically saying the guy didn't, tell them the guy didn't come into the house.
Well, that's why you do a proper investigation from the start. You go there, you knock on the door, you separate everybody, you get a search warrant, you separate everybody, you seize their phones, you don't put evidence in a solo cup, you don't leave the scene. Listen, they claim listen. They claim they couldn't put crime scene tape up because it was 26 miles an hour. I've worked hurricanes where it was 80 miles an hour that I had to close off a road, and I tied it around a tree or anything I could find. That's BS. Now, let me say this while I got it on my mind. Those butt dials, I don't know how in the world you can butt dial somebody on an iPhone this day and time. And what a coincidence. You have two separate witnesses saying that they butt dialed. In my opinion, what I think happened was one of them said, listen, I'm going to call you. I'm going to let it ring one time. I got some information for you. Call me back. That's the only rationale I can see in that. But listen, between midnight and 6 a.m., everybody's phone was burning up. Most people, they go out and party. Most folks are at home 1 or 2 and go to bed. But people were texting, calling. There was too much of that going on. Now, I think some people say some stuff about, Trooper Proctor, he should have been fired by now. Well, let me tell you how it works, because I've seen it firsthand. A lot of troopers get in trouble. You go to internal affairs over one thing, and you get in there, and trust me, they already know what the answer is going to be before they even ask you, just like an attorney in court. So they may have discovered other information that he may have done wrong in other cases, or stuff that he has said that we don't know. But you do not want the governor knowing your name. And that governor, she said something about Trooper Proctor, and the colonels said something about him. You don't want to be in the spotlight. So, in my opinion, I don't think he will be employed come the next trial. Now, Trooper Paul, the Reconstructionist, I don't even think he knew what city he was in, to be honest with you. I mean, look, you take your formulas to court with you. If you don't know them, you got them written down. Now, I'm gonna say this and get off so somebody else can call in. The ATF guy that was texting Miss Reed, why would he text John at 12:20 and ask him, was he coming, to the house? And second of all, I can see me taking my phone to the FBI headquarters in Virginia and having somebody go through it and do this or do that or do this or do that. That is highly suspicious. I mean, they would probably fire me if I had done that. So Mr. Higgins, there's a lot of red flags with him. There's a lot of red flags. Why would he go back to the police department to move vehicles? I mean, that makes no sense. And he said something else. I'm trying to think. He got rid of his phone the day before he was supposed to turn it in. Do you think that's by coincidence?
No.
Come on, he was tipped off.
Yeah,
I promise you, he was tipped off.
He went to the Army base or whatever. He dropped it off at.
Yeah, I dropped it off or disposed of it at an Army base.
At the military base. It's
very convenient.
Listen, every cell phone I've had, I've turned it into my cell phone carrier, and they delete everything. So if he thinks that we believe that he didn't know that subpoena was coming down the very next day, I've got some beachfront land I would love to sell you. Because if you believe that, something's wrong.
Exactly.
He knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's so true
But-
too. Every single phone I've ever had, I've either done one of two things. I've either turned it into the cell phone provider, or I still have it. I still have it in my drawer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I've never disposed of a phone like
Right.
that. So
I
yeah, it's a
think
great.
I did the
Listen,
same thing.
listen, I
I
don't-
never disposed of a phone either.
Yeah,
I just don't understand why they didn't knock on the door. Why didn't they go to the neighbors?
Exactly.
Hey, sir, ma'am, I'm trooper such and such. Do you have a ring door camera? Listen, if there's a body in my front yard tonight, I would expect the police to knock on my door.
right.
And
Yeah.
yes, you can come in.
Absolutely.
I mean, why didn't they go in that house? If they went in that house, this case would have never been brought. Because I'm gonna tell you now, I put my house, my dog, everything I got on it. This case, he did not die as a result of a motor vehicle crash, and you can write that down in big bold letters. I'm telling you now, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
And
I've done it.
how many of those
There
did you
is
do? Say that
no
again.
way.
How many of those accident scenes have you come up on again? You said a lot. How many?
Well, I did probably close over 14,000 crashes, somewhere in that range. Now, hit and runs, I probably did around, I don't know, maybe probably close to 400 or 500. And
Wow.
I've probably done about 300 fatalities because we work alone. You know, if I need some help, it may be 45 minutes away at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I stop a drunk and he don't want to go to jail. Hey, it's going to be on. But when we have a fatality, we bring the cavalry and we get everything done we can on the scene. And then the next day we go to the wrecker lot, and it takes about 2 hours to go through everything. So we would have done that, and then the reconstruction would have came in and got the black box, and they would have went to the scene. Well, actually, to be honest with you, the reconstructionists, if they thought it was a result of the crash, they would have been called to the scene immediately.
Wow.
But I just don't understand why they still have her vehicle. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. We would have released it. Just say she did it.
Yeah.
We would have kept it, no more than 10 days.
Yeah.
And she would have had it back.
I think it's to punish her. They do everything they can to
yeah.
punish her.
There's no reason why she shouldn't have that back either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless
This
she's
has
trying
been
to
a great
cook stuff
call.
on it.
Well, listen. I did the job. I did the job. I worked with some of the best people you can work with. And a lot of people surprise me by getting in trouble. I don't trust anybody. But I would never, ever, ever jeopardize something like this to lose my job and possibly face criminal and civil charges, at the end. So, I'm retired. I'm sitting back collecting 2 nice checks until I die. I'm not working. I don't have to work because I did what I was supposed to do. And, just as simple, listen, when Canton PD went over there, supposedly, and they got all this stuff in these solo cups, do they not have evidence bags at the police department? Because I guess they knew they were going to go get them. You don't put evidence in a solo cup.
Unbelievable.
Solo cups.
It's
Stop
like shopping bags. Stop and shop, shopping bags.
Right.
Stop and shop.
The way
It's crazy.
the way you put evidence is in a manila folder type, and you got red evidence tape. So what you do is you put your evidence in the envelope, and you take the red evidence tape and you go across all 4 corners. And if your initials are ABC, you put A halfway on the tape and the other half on the envelope, BC, and you put the date. In case somebody goes there and tears it off, they can't line that back up, and you can tell if somebody messed with evidence or not. But listen, there's a lot wrong with this case. They're not going to convict her. I don't know what went on the other day. Listen, I have never seen so many sustained objections in my life. I mean, these are questions that can be answered.
It's unbelievable.
I have
It's
never
crazy.
seen it.
Yeah. So before we let you go, I want to ask you, could I give you a call back or text you back and schedule like
Sure.
an interview with you?
Yeah. I'll be happy. Just don't put my number out there.
I won't.
I
Yeah.
won't.
Just you and
You
I.
know,
I'll be
I've
calling
got
from a
these.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got these scammers calling me about 100 times a day, and I don't answer.
Yeah,
so
no,
about
no,
like everybody else,
nobody's
you know.
gonna get the number except for me, and I'll just text you. I'll text you from a 978 area code, and I want to
Okay,
schedule
yeah,
something. I would love to get you back on here.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really
I would love
fun.
to come on now. We have the state highway patrol. We are not a state police. So if this was a crash, I would have been called to do the collision report. And the State Bureau of Investigation would have handled everything else. But I got enough training and experience to tell you, I would have knocked on the door. I would have separated everybody. I would have seized all the phones. I would have taped everything. I mean, there's just so many holes. There's so many holes in this case. I would love to sit on that stand. I would eat their case alive, but obviously I really don't want to go anywhere near Massachusetts with all this stuff going on, So.
Yeah, not Norfolk County. Definitely not that county.
Yeah, not Norfolk.
Thank you for calling. I'm calling you
No.
Roscoe. I love this call. This was an amazing call. You're North Carolina Highway Patrol. Is that right?
Yeah, North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and I'm retired. So, once I retired, I can speak my mind. If I was still working, I obviously wouldn't be talking here because somebody'd probably call and complain. But, I'm retired now, and I really don't give a damn, what people think. I mean, the truth is the truth. And, the evidence is not there to convict this lady. It is not there. And like I said, text me. We can go step by step. I'll answer any question, as far as the crash or whatever. And I'll stay on as long as you want me to.
Perfect. We're going to let you go because I do got to go tonight. I got to wrap it up with Abby. But what I want to do is I want to text you back and just schedule you for a show because I think our audience loves you right now. And they're going to have a lot of questions for you. And maybe bring a few of my friends on here to ask some questions. I think it would be a great episode with you. And you don't have to even show your face. We could do it through StreamYard or just call in like you did tonight. Either way.
Well, I only have a cell phone,
We'll do it
I
on the
don't mind showing my face. I'm not scared, but I could just point it in one direction and talk.
Yeah, the cell phone's perfect.
That's no big deal. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. So.
We can use the cell phone. Cell phone's perfect.
But anyway.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right. Well, just send me a message. Just send me a message and let me know. And I'm free most of the time, and we'll get the truth out there because I did it. I know how it's supposed to work. And let me say this before I let you go. All those law enforcement involved, they probably have plenty of friends that, would call them 2 or 3 times a day. They're not getting those phone calls today. I've seen it. Trust me. They are blacklisted because those other law enforcement officers know it is BS. Big time.
Great call. I really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for calling tonight.
All right. I'll wait for your text, sir. Have a good night.
You too. Wow, that was amazing.
That was an awesome call.